Some people will never tell you they dislike you. They will smile. They will stay close. They will act like everything is normal. But every time something good happens for you, the energy changes. You share a small win, and suddenly their face gets quiet. You talk about something you are proud of, and they make it feel smaller. You start becoming more confident, and they start acting like you are doing too much. That is when you need to pay attention, not because everyone is against you. Not because you should become suspicious of every friend, coworker, or family member, but because emotional armor is not just about staying calm when people attack you. It is also about noticing who becomes uncomfortable when you stop being small. Because some people do not hate you loudly, they dislike your growth quietly. And if you do not recognize it, you may spend years trying to earn warmth from people who only like the version of you they could understand, control, or feel superior to. So today, I want to show you the quiet signs that someone secretly dislikes you. Not so you can become paranoid, not so you can start cutting everyone off, but so you can stop over-explaining yourself to people who are already committed to misunderstanding your rise. The first sign is the small win shrink. This happens when you share something good, and they immediately make it feel smaller. Maybe you got praised at work. Maybe you started going to the gym. Maybe you finally posted something you were afraid to share. Maybe you are learning a new skill, changing your style, or taking your life more seriously. And instead of meeting your energy, they quietly lower it. They say, "That's nice," but there is no warmth behind it. They change the subject quickly. They point out what could go wrong. They remind you that it is not a big deal, or they respond in a way that makes you feel silly for being proud. This is not always obvious. A person who secretly resents you usually will not say, "I do not like seeing you win." They will just make your win feel less safe to talk about. And if you are not careful, you will start doing their job for them. You will shrink your excitement before you even share it. You will say, "It is not that big of a deal," before anyone else can. You will make yourself smaller just to avoid feeling their coldness. But listen, you are allowed to be proud without asking permission. You are allowed to grow without making it comfortable for everyone watching. And when someone repeatedly shrinks your small wins, do not argue with them. Just notice their lack of warmth is information. The second sign is the joke with a knife. This is when they disguise resentment as humor. They make a comment that sounds like a joke, but it always lands on the part of you that is growing. You start dressing better, and they say, "Look at you trying to be fancy now." You become more confident, and they say, "Wow, who do you think you are?" You set a boundary, and they say, "Someone has been watching too many self-help videos." Then if you react, they hide behind the same line, "I was just kidding." But a joke that always cuts the same place is not harmless. It is a test. They are testing whether you will laugh at your own shrinking. They are testing whether you will help them turn your growth into entertainment. And many people do. They laugh along, even when it hurts. They act unbothered, even when the comment stays in their head all day. They pretend it is fine because they do not want to seem sensitive. But emotional armor does not mean fake lawing at disrespect. It means staying calm enough to see what happened. You do not need to explode. You do not need to insult them back. You can simply stop rewarding the joke. No big reaction, no nervous laugh, no performance. Just a calm pause, because the moment you stop laughing at jokes that were designed to make you smaller, the joke loses its cover. The third sign is the doubt question. This one is subtle. They do not directly insult you. They ask questions that plant insecurity. You say you are starting something new, and they ask, "Are you sure you are ready for that?" You say you want more for yourself, and they ask, "Isn't that a little too much?" You say you are making a change, and they ask, "Who do you think you are now?" On the surface, it can sound like concern, but real concern gives you clarity, resentment gives you confusion. Real concern says, "Have you thought about the risks? I want you to be prepared." Hidden resentment says, "Are you sure someone like you can do that?" Feel the difference. One helps you stand stronger. The other makes you doubt whether you should stand at all. People who secretly dislike your growth often use questions because questions look innocent. They can always say, "I was only asking." But the effect is what matters. After talking to them, do you feel clearer? Or do you feel smaller? Do you feel supported? Or do you feel like you need to defend your right to try? That is the pattern to watch. You do not have to answer every doubt question with a full explanation. Sometimes the strongest response is short. "I have thought about it. I am willing to learn. I will figure it out." Then stop. You do not owe a courtroom speech to someone who is not actually curious. The fourth sign is the silent success test. This is one of the most painful ones. Some people are very present when you are struggling. They check on you when you are sad. They listen when you are confused. They comfort you when you are stuck. And because of that, you think they are safe. But then something good happens. You get better. You become more confident. You start winning. And suddenly, they are quiet, no message, no excitement, no real support, no energy. They saw the post, but they did not respond. They heard the news, but they moved past it fast. They were available for your breakdown, but absent for your breakthrough. That is important, because some people do not support you. They support your need for them. They feel useful when you are down. They feel comfortable when you are unsure. They feel close to you when you are still doubting yourself. But when you rise, the relationship changes. Now they cannot be the stronger one. Now they cannot be the advisor, the rescuer, or the person you need approval from. Your success removes their role. So they go silent. This does not mean everyone has to celebrate you loudly. People have lives. People get busy. But when the pattern is consistent, pay attention. If someone has energy for your pain, but no energy for your progress, they may not love your healing as much as they loved your dependence. And once you see that, do not beg them to clap. Keep moving. The fifth sign is the old version pullback. This happens when someone keeps reminding you who you used to be. You are trying to grow, but they keep bringing up your old habits. You are more disciplined now, but they keep talking about when you were lazy. You are more confident now, but they keep reminding you when you were insecure. You are becoming someone new, but they keep introducing you to the room as the old version. Sometimes they call it joking. Sometimes they call it keeping you humble. Sometimes they say, I just remember how you used to be. But ask yourself this, are they remembering your past with love? Or are they using it as a leash? There is a difference. Someone who loves you can remember your past and still respect your growth. They can say, I am proud of how far you have come. But someone who resents your growth will keep dragging your old self into every room, hoping you will step back into it. Because the old version of you was easier for them, easier to predict, easier to dismiss, easier to feel above. And that is why your growth bothers them. Not because you became arrogant, but because you became less available for the role they assigned you. So stop apologizing for outgrowing old expectations. You can acknowledge your past without living inside it. Yes, maybe you were different before. Yes, maybe you made mistakes. Yes, maybe you used to accept less, but you are allowed to change. And people who secretly dislike you often reveal themselves by how uncomfortable they become when you do. The sixth sign is the approval withdrawal. This is when someone gives you warmth when you shrink and distance when you grow. When you doubt yourself, they are close. When you ask for advice, they are warm. When you make yourself smaller, they relax. But when you become confident, they pull back. When you stop asking permission, they become cold. When you no longer need their approval, they start acting disappointed in you. This can make you feel like you did something wrong. So you start chasing the warmth again, you explain more, you soften your confidence, you ask if everything is okay. You try to return to the version of yourself that made them comfortable. But that is the trap. Their approval becomes a leash, and every time you grow, they tug it. The moment you feel them pull away, ask yourself one question. Did I do something harmful? Or did I simply become harder to control? Because those are not the same thing. If you hurt someone, take responsibility. But if your only crime is growing, do not apologize for that. Let people adjust to your strength. Let them sit with the fact that you are not as available, insecure, or dependent as you used to be. The right people will not punish you for becoming healthier. They may need time to adjust, but they will not try to make you feel guilty for rising. So what do you do when you notice these signs? First, do not panic. High resentment is not a reason to become bitter. It is a reason to become observant. You do not have to confront every small behavior. You do not have to announce, I know you dislike me. You do not have to turn your life into an investigation. Just watch the pattern. Who gets quiet when you win? Who jokes when you grow? Who asks questions that make you doubt yourself? Who only feels close when you are struggling? Who keeps pulling you back to an old version of you? And who withdraws warmth when you stop needing approval? Once you see the pattern, adjust access. Share less with people who shrink your joy. Explain less to people who question your right to grow. Stop performing humility for people who are uncomfortable with your confidence. Do not hand your dreams to people who keep looking for weak spots. This is not revenge. This is self-respect. You can be kind and still be private. You can be calm and still be unavailable. You can wish someone well and still stop giving them front row access to your life. Because emotional armor is not about assuming the worst in everyone. It is about protecting the best in you. Your growth is fragile when it is new. Your confidence is still forming. Your standards are still becoming normal to you. So be careful who you let speak into that season. Not everyone deserves a preview of the person you are becoming. So remember the signs. They shrink your small wins. They hide insults inside jokes. They ask questions that plant doubt. They go quiet when you succeed. They pull you back to your old version. And they withdraw approval when you grow. When you see these patterns, do not shrink. Do not chase. Do not beg for applause. Observe at just access. And keep becoming the version of yourself they never expected you to become. Because when someone secretly dislikes your growth, the answer is not to make yourself easier for them to accept. The answer is to grow until their silence no longer controls you.